the ACC's very best. For North Carolina, Ethan Horton, last year's ACC rushing leader. So far in '84, Horton is averaging over 100 yards per game. Here he gallops for a 79-yard touchdown against a strong Boston College defense. For Clemson, it's Stacy Driver, who last weekend had his career best against Georgia Tech, rushing for 131 yards. But one of the keys of today's game, a suspect Carolina secondary, allowing over 260 yards a game through the air. The low point, a 6-touchdown performance by Doug Flutie of Boston College. Today, it's the Tigers of Clemson meeting the Tar Heels of North Carolina.
This ESPN event is brought to you by North American Van Lines. A real value in moving. Go North American.
From Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. Hello, everybody. I'm Art Eckman, and working with me, Kim McQuilkin. Kim, we've got two teams that are not accustomed to being in the positions they're in right now.
Well, that's right. This is the first time since 1976 that these teams are meeting, and neither team is ranked in the top 20.
It's a situation where Clemson has had turnover problems in the last few games.
Well, the last 2 weeks they've lost to Georgia and Georgia Tech. They've turned the ball over 12 times in those two losses. They've got to eliminate those kind of mistakes if they're going to beat Carolina this afternoon.
North Carolina has the accustomed talent that they've always had, but it's a very youthful talent.
It is probably Dick Crumb's youngest team that he's fielded at Carolina. They've got a quarterback with a lot of potential, but he's a sophomore. He's inexperienced, and the defensive secondary is quite inexperienced, and Mike Epley and the Clemson Tigers are going to try and take advantage of that this afternoon.
Kim, I think it adds up to a good game because both teams are extremely hungry for victory in this ACC contest. We'll be right back with the opening kickoff right after this. Clemson has elected to receive as the North Carolina Tar Heels set to kick and get this game underway. Clemson leading the series with 19 wins against 12 losses and 1 tie. In the last decade, it's been 7-2-1. In their last meeting, it was Clemson 16-3, as you see there at Chapel Hill. This team in blue, and I say they're wearing blue pants for the first time in North Carolina history, was the last team to beat Clemson right here on their home turf. It'll be Kenny Miller, and there you see the return men, Terrence Rulack and Ray Williams. Kenny Miller kicking off, number 18 from Phoenix, Maryland. Rulack has returned 3 for 97 yards, his longest 35 yards, and he will go back into the end zone and watch it float out, so Clemson will take over on the 30-yard line. Taking a look at the offensive starting lineup now, here's the interior line. Engel, Reese, Swing, Cheatham, Ellis, and a very fine tight end, K.D. Dunn. In the backfield, as usual, Mike Epley, Flowers at fullback, Stacy Driver coming off his greatest game. Last week, Rulack and Butler, the receivers. There you see the huddle, number 15, Rulack, and 14, Epley. Driver steps back into the I formation as Dunn shifts to the right side of the line. Driver on the carry. Big hit that time. And a quick one by number 41, Troy Simmons. Simmons in that inside linebacker spot, his development has really made the move for Micah Moon to the outside in a linebacker spot. Checking out the defensive lineup, Davis, Bailey, Johnston up front. Micah Moon, one of the finest linebackers we've seen. James, Hendrickson, James, and Bailey. James, that's right, they're twins. 2nd and 11 for Clemson on the 29-yard line. Stacy Driver. He's got the hole he needs, not quite to the first down marker at the 38-yard line where Carl Carr gets in there. He's the leading tackler from that linebacker position, making his 20th of the year.
Well, here we see the toss sweep to Driver's right. Stacy Driver picking up where he left off last week against Georgia Tech, where he had well over 100 yards.
So already a crucial third down play. 1 yard to go at the 39-yard line. North Carolina stacking up front as it goes back to Stacy Driver. Big hole, first down and more to the 45, 46-yard line. Carl Carr once again making the tackle. He has a total of 41 hits this year, 20 individual tackles.
Well, we've talked in terms of North Carolina's defense being inexperienced, Art. The most experienced part of that defense is the linebacking unit, as you mentioned, led by Micah Moon.
It's Butler and Rulak, the wideouts. Butler's to the near side. Flowers on the carry. And after a gain of about a yard, he's met by Carl Carr once again. Carr's from Alexandria, Virginia. He's a 6'3", 214-pound junior. So for the Clemson Tigers now, they'll give it a 2nd and 9. A gain of a long yard on the play. Sheldon Boyer split left, and it's Ray Williams to the near side. Williams in motion behind Epley. Epley looking for his first pass. Completed to Boyer. Sheldon Boyer, 5 receptions this year. He came into the ballgame with 4 receptions and 68 yards. His longest a 23-yarder. This one for a first down.
Well, Mike Epley on a roll to his left. He's got Flowers and Driver out in front blocking. Boyer went down about 15 yards, hooked it up. Epley actually let the ball go before Boyer had made his break, and it's a big first down for Clemson.
Walter Bailey making the tackle. What a fine block by Stacy Driver in pass protection. First down at the 35-yard line. With that completion, Epley has gone over the 2,500-yard mark in passing in his Clemson career. Now has 2,506 yards. Stacy Driver tries for the outside, and the very speedy Barry James catches up with him. James had a team-high 11 hits against Kansas in their last ball game.
Barry James is the free safety. He's a senior. That time, Flowers, the fullback, came up and hit him at the line of scrimmage, but James was able to shed the block and make the tackle.
Here you see some statistical comparisons. The Clemson offense against the North Carolina defense. North Carolina giving up many, many yards through the air. Epley on the option. Hooks it under 20, 15, and down to the 11-yard line. Darrell Johnson finally catching up with him. The young man from Charlotte, North Carolina, a senior, finally catches Mike Epley.
There's the flake to Flowers up the middle. Epley just keeping it all the way as the left side of Carolina's defensive line just collapsed. Breaking tackles, running like a running back downfield, Art.
Steve Reese, the junior from Thompson, Georgia, making a fine block on the play on the option. It's another 1st and 10 now for Clemson. Ball placement at the 12-yard line. Epley making sure everyone hears the audible as he pitches back to Stacy Driver. Driver getting the Reese block, but can't make the corner. A gain of 2 yards up to the 10-yard line, where Troy Simmons makes the stop. Carl Carr also in on the play. So both linebackers from the inside pursuing. Danny Ford on the sideline now, anxious for his team to get back on the victory side. Driver in 5 carries now, 18 yards in the ball game here in the first series. 10:54 remaining in the contest here in the first quarter. 2nd and 8 from the 10-yard line for Clemson. Sheldon Boyer, Ray Williams, the wide receivers. Epley, fumble, looked like. Did his fullback hold on to the football? No. Micah Moon makes the recovery, number 39. So a great break for North Carolina as the fumble continues to plague the Clemson Tigers.
Well, you're right. We talked about the turnovers at the top of the show. There you see Epley faking to his fullback. Flowers just knocked the ball out of Mike Epley's hands. This is exactly what Clemson did last week. The opening drive against Georgia Tech, they went right down the field inside the 5-yard line. They fumbled the ball.
So let's see now if the starting lineup of North Carolina can take advantage of that great Harris Barton, one of the very fine centers in the ACC. The young Kevin Anthony at quarterback. Watch for Colson, that quick-hitting fullback. It's the pitch back. And Horton is met by Steve Berlin after a gain of a couple of yards. Checking out the turnover situation. Clemson so far this year with 16 turnovers. They had 24 turnovers a total for last season, and less than that in the 2 previous seasons. From the 10-yard line, 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Griffin in motion. Handoff goes back to Horton. He's caught at the line of scrimmage. Michael Perry, number 91, the brother of William, making the stop. Danforth back into the starting lineup, too, for the Clemson Tigers. Let's check it out. Jeff Wells at left end, Berlin, Perry, and Mack up front. Walls and Williams, experienced linebackers. And the defensive secondary of Davis, Pleasant, Danforth, and Watson. Streeter comes to the near side, and Larry Griffin to the far side. Streeter has got great speed, and look for him to go to the air on a 3rd and 7. Kevin Anthony, a sophomore quarterback, hands to Horton. And William Perry.
Well, William Perry. Week after week, we are amazed by the speed that a 320-pound William Perry has. His quickness off the ball. There you see him. He's in the backfield before the play ever develops. And that's another tackle for loss for William Perry, Art.
Okay, he needs only 3 more tackles for a loss to set a new career record at Clemson, number 66. Tommy Bernard is in, averaging 41.5 yards a kick. Gets a soft kick away as he had a good rush. Pleasant bobbling the ball, picking it up in good field position at the 45. And he'll be put down at the 47-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Clemson Tigers, with great defense to hold North Carolina. Darrell Johnson, the tackle on the play. 8 minutes, 38 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter play. 1st and 10 for Clemson. No score. We'll be back in a moment. From the 47-yard line, 1st and 10, Ray Williams in motion. Flowers and Driver. The offensive backfield, I should say, is Flowers. Handles the handoff this time and gets over the 50-yard line for a gain of 3 yards, where Troy Simmons makes the tackle. Reuben Davis also in on the play, number 93. He's that left tackle from Greensboro, North Carolina. Only a freshman, 6'3", 270 pounds. Right next to him is also a freshman, Carlton Bailey. So lots of inexperience in that front 3. Dick Crum, winner of 51 games, losing 22, tying 1 coming into this contest. Charleston and Butler, the wideouts, on a 2nd and 6 for Clemson. Epley gets rid of the ball, completed and done for a gain of 2 yards. They might give him another yard on forward progress when he's hit by Reuben Davis, number 93.
And Epley really showing his athletic ability here. He took a 3-step drop. He wanted to throw the quick out to his right. The defense rolled up that way. Look at him just get the ball up here. Made something positive happen out of something that otherwise would have been a loss.
That was Reuben Davis on the rush. K.D. Dunn, 8 receptions for 103 yards. 3rd and 9. Check it, 3rd and 3 at the 46-yard line. Epley back to Stacy Driver. Driver can't quite get to the hole quick enough, and Larry James combines with Troy Simmons for the tackle. Larry James from Middletown, Ohio, along with twin brother Barry. And Hatcher will come in the front on a 4th down situation and only 1 yard to go at the 44-yard line.
Larry James at time came up and forced the play hard. Kenny Flowers was trying to block on him. James made the play.
Walter Bailey is deep for North Carolina's Hatcher. Really floats it high. He wants it to land about the 1-yard line and kick back, and it does! What a kick by Hatcher! K.D. Dunn downs the ball at about the 2-yard line. What a terrific artist this young man is.
Well, I'll tell you, Dale Hatcher does that as well as anybody in the country. Not only is he an accurate kicker, but he gets that great hang time on it.
A 42-yard kick by Hatcher, and that is the 6th time this year he's landed it inside the 20-yard line. Okay, North Carolina Tar Heels with their backs to the wall with a 1st and 10 at the 3. They mark it. 6:34 remaining 1st quarter. Colson and Horton are the running backs. Anthony wants to make sure they hear the message. That's Colson at the fullback spot, grinding his powerful legs for a 2-yard gain to the 5. Henry Walls and a host of Clemson tacklers in on the play, along with William Perry.
Well, back down inside their own 5-yard line, North Carolina is going with 2 tight ends. Their offensive line is rather inexperienced, and Clemson's defensive line has been one of its strong suits this year.
So far, the Clemson defense has not been willing to give up a yard or two with close plays. 2nd and 8 now. Anthony back to pass. Off the hands of Larry Griffin on the near side from Chesapeake, Florida. So the Tar Heels trying to go to the air. Reggie Pleasant was covering on the play, Kim.
Well, I like this call by North Carolina. They're back inside their own 5-yard line. They come with the play-action pass. They kept everybody in the block except the wide receiver who's running it down and out. That's Larry Griffin, and really Anthony put the ball on the money. The ball was catchable.
North Carolina 3rd and 8 from the 10. Terrence Mack, the tackle on Eddie Colson. Terrence Mack, no one touched him, and he held his ground well. So Bernhardt comes back into the ballgame after one 47-yard punt. Tommy Bernhardt, his longest of the year, a 57-yarder. He's standing in his own end zone as Reggie Pleasant now at about midfield. Pleasant has returned 11 punts for 86 yards, but he gets a line drive that Pleasant has to go back and get at the 35-yard line. Good coverage by North Carolina, and he makes his way nicely back to the 49.
Well, they've got the flag down, though, Art. It looks like Clemson roughed the kicker. They came very close to blocking the kick that time.
Brian Raber getting in there from the defensive end spot, and it looks like North Carolina gets a great break.
Well, there's a great end zone view.
And very, very seldom will you ever block a kick coming straight on.
That's exactly
without
right.
getting a penalty. So the roughing the kicker penalty is a 5-yard penalty, but not an automatic first down. And North Carolina, with the 5 yards, would not earn the first down. So it's still a 4th down situation, just inches to go. Being so deep in their own territory, we expect Crum to go over the percentages and punt it out of there. Tommy Barnhart, the junior from China Grove, North Carolina. And Reggie Pleasant now standing back at his 41-yard line.
I tell you, that's been a risky place to be so far on 2 kicks for Barnhart.
This time he gets a little height on it. Pleasant, though, will be able to return it at the 44. Gets a nice block at the 50. Penalty flag down as he goes over the 45 to the 43. Terrence Rulak to the far side. And it's Butler to the near side, and he's the young man in motion. From the 36-yard line, Epley to Rulak. And they rule that Rulak's knee was on the ground and will be put back at the 32-yard line. Was it a lateral, though?
Well, this is going to be a good call. Epley fakes to his right. Comes back with the quick screen to Rulak. There was an offensive lineman out in front of him. Here's the fake to Kenny Flowers. Epley, that's a forward pass, and his knee was down. That's a good call by the official. Look at the running room he would have had.
And so a loss on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and about 13 yards to go for a first down. Flowers and Driver, the backfield. As Epley on the roll, gets some good blocking. That's Williams. Curls at the 48. First down. Good thing he didn't curl too much on that play, Kim.
Well, what Williams does is what you hear all coaches talk about, what they like their receivers to do, and that is come back to the ball.
It's
Here's
close
Epley
to a
out
first
on the
down,
roll.
though.
There's Steve Reese out in front of him, giving him time. And here comes Williams back to the football. Enough for the first down.
If he would have gone straight ahead, it would have been a sure first down, but then we had to take a long look at it. First down at the 48-yard line now. Nice catch by Williams. 4 minutes, 6 seconds remaining in the quarter. Flowers up the middle. Nice yardage to almost the 45-yard line before he's met by Carl Carr. That was Brian Raber on the sideline for Clemson. Being attended to on a 2nd and 3 now from the 45-yard line for Clemson. Stacy Driver, no, that's Griffin into the lineup now at tailback, and he goes over the 45 for a gain of a yard. Micah Moon making the tackle. A good hit down low for the senior.
Well, here we see Micah Moon, the linebacker, penetrating inside the blocking of the Clemson offensive line. Moon was actually an honorable mention All-American last year.
Flowers and Griffin, the running backs. Actually, the wingback is quick at tight end, so we've got 3 tight ends on a 3rd and 1. Acting as an H-back as Griffin flies over the group for the first down. Griffin taking to the air for the Clemson first down at about the 41-yard line.
Well, here are the North Carolina linebackers. They're going to try to time their hit at the line of scrimmage and try to hit Griffin as he's diving across for that first down. Here you see him airborne, and really Griffin gets that all by himself. There wasn't a whole lot of movement by the Clemson offensive line, just a fine individual effort by Griffin that time.
No score in the ball game. That is the 5th Clemson first down, though, here in the first quarter. K.D. Dunn pulls the ball in for a 9-yard gain. Tim Morrison making the tackle. Well, he showed his good hands that time, Kim. Was not easy to catch.
What Clemson tries to do on this play is they want to make it look like option. Here you see Epley faking to the fullback, and he comes down the line of scrimmage, but at the last minute he sets up and pops it to K.D. Dunn, the tight end. He also had his flanker out there outside of Dunn and could have gone to either one.
Good play call by the Clemson offense. 2nd down and 2 with 2 minutes 3 seconds left in the quarter. Epley rolls out. Good pursuit. Look at that sidestep. He's got his man. Pat Charleston at the 21-yard line. Barry James making the tackle. You know, he had a nice block there, Kim.
Well, we're going to see Steve Reese peel back and help out Epley, but nice faking there. But look at this athletic ability. Seems like he's trapped. Here comes Reese back in there to help him. Nice block. Epley makes something happen. Pat Charleston open, and once again, something positive happened because of Epley's athletic ability.
Epley now stumbles and falls after a gain of about a yard. Charleston, a 170-pound sophomore from Granite Quarry, North Carolina. Boy, was he in the open, and a nice soft catch.
Well, I just got done talking about Epley's athletic ability, and he tripped over one of the white lines down.
Obviously, your fault, Kim. We'll blame it on you. It's actually a loss of a yard, so it'll be 2nd and 11 where the knee went down. Charleston is to the near side. Rolak, no, that's Williams, and it goes right through his hands. And the 15-yard line. It was good coverage by Walter Bailey on the play, but it just simply went through his hands high.
Well, this is the kind of catch that Rolak usually makes. It's just a 3-step drop by Epley, the quick post. And the defensive back timed it nicely that time. Was that Ray Williams on the reception that time? Not Rolak.
3rd and 11 now as Rolak back into the ball game goes to the left side. And it's Butler to the near side. Big play right here. Epley dishes it off. Flowers. And Kenny Flowers inside the 20-yard line. Not good enough for the first down. We'll see Donald Igwebuike come into the ball game. 47 seconds remaining before the quarter break.
Here we see Epley back in the pocket. North Carolina had 3 men on K.D. Dunn that time. Epley comes out here on the screen to Flowers, but good reaction that time by the linebackers.
Paredes hold at the 25-yard line. Igwebuike has not missed a field goal this year. He is 6 for 6. It's on the way. Got plenty of height. It is no good. Off to the left. So Igwebuike looked like he hooked it a bit. With 23 seconds left in the first quarter, Clemson fails to score again. First and 10 from the 20-yard line after the missed field goal try by Igwebuike. Kevin Anthony overshoots his intended receiver, Streeter, Eric Streeter. Very quick sophomore. Reggie Pleasant with good coverage. Kevin Anthony just overthrew him. Anthony comes into this ball game passing for 542 yards. He's 40 out of 67. 2 touchdowns. He's been intercepted 5 times, but he's completed 59.7% of his passes. North Carolina with a long passing game this year, something we're not accustomed to.
Well, they feel Anthony's going to be a great one. He just needs some time to develop.
And off up the middle on the 2nd and 10. Eddie Colson, the fullback, and William Perry makes the tackle. The yellow flag down on the play. Looks like from where the flag was thrown, it might have been on the line of scrimmage. Illegal procedure. North Carolina is the preliminary side with 8 seconds remaining before the quarter break.
Really, considering the field position of this game so far, North Carolina is awfully lucky to be coming out of the first quarter with their score tied 0-0. Clemson has moved the ball, moved it well at times, but they've been victimized by the turnover.
This is the 33rd meeting between these two teams.
Well, Clemson declined the penalty. They like the idea of 3rd and 8 as opposed to 2nd and 13.
Few of the fans disagreeing, however. That's their privilege.
Well, here goes the wave cheer.
Griffin, Streeter, Winfield. And the clock runs out as we watch the wave circulate around the stadium here in Clemson, South Carolina. After the first quarter of play, no score. We'll be back with more action in a moment. From the 22-yard line, Kevin Anthony audibilizes and decides to run it up the middle. He's got the first down. Nice move by Anthony. Ronald Watson made sure he wouldn't go too far over that first down stick.
Well, this is a play that Georgia Tech exploited last week against Clemson. It's the quarterback draw all the way. His fullback leading Colson, leading the way for him. And with Clemson's great pursuit, a lot of these misdirection plays are effective.
Nice blocks by Brooks and Bobby Pope. 1st and 10, the first down of North Carolina in the ball game. We're now in the second quarter. Anthony. Back to throw. He's got his man. That's the tight end. And is he a good one? Franklin. Arnold Franklin, the 6'3 junior from Lincoln Heights, Ohio. Reggie Pleasant puts the hit on him.
Well, Arnold Franklin has been North Carolina's leading receiver so far this year. North Carolina trying to make it look like option coming out of the snap. And Anthony sets up back in the pocket, puts a nice touch on the ball, and they've got a big play downfield.
Danforth combining with Pleasant for the stop, but another first down at the 44-yard line. Anthony hands off to Horton, and Horton for a gain of 2 yards, maybe 3, before he's met by Steve Berlin, number 76. Berlin coming into the game with 29 tackles. He's had minor irritations as far as injuries are concerned, but it slowed Steve up in the last few ball games.
And there you see the numbers on Ethan Horton. You know, he came to Carolina as a quarterback, turned into a tailback, and he's had a great career.
Single running back is Eddie Colson, number 34. And we've got 3 wide receivers on a 2nd and 6 from the 48. Straight drop. And it's Winfield. They say he caught it before going out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Kenny Danforth on the coverage. Not quite a first down.
Well, here's Anthony on a 3-step drop. He's throwing the hitch pattern to his left. Good timing on that pass.
Stepped out of bounds, it looked like.
Well, he has one leg in, one leg out.
It's a holding call against North Carolina, as you see. Placing the football back on the 44-yard line.
And Art, really no excuse for holding on a 3-step drop. All that lineman has to do is get good position. The quarterback's letting the ball go very quickly. The kind of penalty coaches don't like to see.
2nd and 10 yards to go for the first down, a long 10. Anthony handing off to Horton. Horton is held on to, and look at him ride William Perry. Horton showing some strength on that play.
Well, William Perry initially was blocked at the line of scrimmage, but we're going to see him with a second effort here. He's double-teamed by the center and the right guard. That's Barton and Brooks. But look at him stay with the play, and he ends up making the tackle. Look at the drive by Horton, though. 320 pounds on top of it.
So North Carolina trying to dig themselves out of a penalty situation on a 3rd and 3 now at the 49-yard line of Clemson. Anthony's got his tight end again. Can he get it to him in time? Nice move defensively by Ronald Watson. Anthony just didn't get the ball away in time. He had his tight end in the open, and I mean by 7 yards in the open, but didn't get the ball away.
Well, here's Anthony on the roll. He's got plenty of time. Horton's out in front of him, no one even to block. Franklin was open, but Ronald Watson came up, gambled, and I think got in the tight end's vision that time, and that's why he didn't come down with the ball.
Barnhart, 2 previous punts, averaging 45 yards in this ball game. Reggie Pleasant back at the 10, watches the ball sail over his head into the end zone. So Clemson will take over with the punt into the end zone. And with no score in this ball game in the second quarter, we'll pause now for a word from your local station. No question the Tigers are moving the football every time they have it, and that time it was a beautiful tackle by Danny Wallace on Terrence Flagler. Knifing through for no gain on the play. A loss of a few inches, in fact. There's the statistics on Flagler, 194 yards coming into the ball game, averaging 8.0 yards a ball game.
And there was some question as to whether he would play this afternoon because he hurt that ankle last week against Georgia Tech.
Saw limited action last week against Tech, and then also re-injured that ankle in practice this week. Second down, and still 10 to go. Complete. And that's once again Flagler. Flagler's done a nice job in pass receiving this year, but there is a penalty flag down, and let's check it. It might be roughing the passer.
Well, it is. It's on number 41, Troy Simmons of North Carolina. He was blitzing on the play. Here you're going to see Simmons.
Number 41.
He's actually blitzing there to the right of your screen. Epley got the ball off, but Simmons elected to just keep running right into him. The referee says, sorry, we're going to throw the flag. That's going to be 15 more for Clemson.
With only 4 starters returning on that defense, they've had to rely on their linebackers to do more blitzing than the inexperienced front 3. Of course, you got that hammer, Micah Moon, and then, as you just saw, Simmons compliments him well. The penalty will put the ball on the 45-yard line into North Carolina territory, 1st and 10 for the Tigers.
And Clemson's got that field position back.
Flagler and Carter are the running backs. The fake to Flagler, Epley on the roll. K.D. Dunn can't hold on to the football. It was there right on his hands as Walter Bailey and James Berry.
Well, what a shame for Clemson, because they had the right play called against a too-deep secondary coverage by North Carolina. Both safeties were back deep. The place to go with the football against that defense is the tight end down the middle of the football field. That's where Epley put the ball, but K.D. Dunn was unable to hold on to it.
Barry James doing a good job with that shoulder. So it's 2nd and 10 from the 45 now for Clemson. Epley the option. He's got the whole field open to him. Runs right up the back of Richard Butler, who's a very fine blocker for a split end, and Larry James makes the tackle on Epley. No one there to cover the quarterback on the option.
Well, this is the option working to perfection. There you see Reese coming around the corner helping out Epley, but just a lot of running room as number 2, Barry James, took the pitch man, so Epley just cut it up, and he got a 1st down.
Larry James making the tackle. Once they got by Reuben Davis, the left tackle, he hooked inside. He was actually stunning inside. It was free running room. Flagler dives ahead for a gain of about 3 yards on the 1st and 10 from the 31. Walter Bailey.
Can't go by Walter Bailey.
We'll credit him with the coverage.
even in the losses to Georgia and Georgia Tech, Clemson's offense has been capable of the big play. They've just been inconsistent in that they've laid the ball down on fumbles and interceptions quite a bit.
Many times it's the field goal kicker that gets credit for the miss. But you saw on the sidelines there, Scott Williams and Peretti practicing the snap and the hold, and sometimes it's their fault. It's a timing of all three individuals and outstanding blocking that makes a field goal go true.
Well,
9 minutes, 7 seconds remaining, second quarter. Still no score. We'll be back in a moment. Dick Crum from the sidelines looking in at his defense as the Tigers with a 2nd and 7 for Danny Ford at the 29-yard line. Second and 7 now. Epley calling the signals. Gives off to his fullback, and up the middle it goes. Once again, we're talking about Kenny Flowers, number 48. Dennis Barron making the tackle, the sophomore from Wilson, North Carolina.
Well, Clemson's got a 3rd and 3, call it a 3rd and 4. This is a situation where a quarterback like Epley can be so effective. He can throw the short pass, he can run the option, he can do a lot of things here.
3 out of the 5 previous times they've been able to get the first down on a 3rd down situation. Epley wisely tucking the ball under, gets the first down, moving over the 20 and close to the 15-yard line. Steve Hendrickson making the tackle.
And here is Epley, the fake to the fullback. Carolina's taking away the pitch man early in this game. Consequently, Epley's getting the option right up inside, and he's getting good yardage.
And you rely sometimes on a comeback block by that outside receiver, and Ray Williams that time did a very credible job. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line, and jumping offside is Jeff Cruz. The 6'7" senior from Lake City, Florida, will put the ball back 5 yards for the Tigers now, where it'll be 1st and 15. It was almost as if he was going on the first call, but it was an audibilization or at least a repeat of the play call.
And the kind of penalty on 1st down that kills drives. 1st and 15 is just such a much more difficult play call.
So it's from the 22-yard line. Up the middle to Flowers. Flowers gains 2 yards to the 20-yard line. Troy Simmons making the tackle.
On 2nd and 13, Clemson's going to have to open it up somewhat here. Might be a good spot for K.D. Dunn, the tight end.
A 2nd and 13 for the Tigers. Charleston in motion. They throw back, and falling down after catching the ball is Dunn as they lose a lot of yardage on the play. Slipping, feet just came out from under him at the 29-yard line. Micah Moon was there on the rush against Epley.
Well, if he's able to keep his feet on this play, K.D. Dunn would still be running. This is the throwback screen. Epley rolling to his right. He's going to throw back to his tight end. He had 3 linemen out in front of him, and there was a lot of running room, but that rush just got to Epley soon enough so he had to throw the ball low and away, and Dunn couldn't hang on to the ball.
Dunn had the blocking assignment on Moon, and he knew he had to release sooner or later to get into the pattern. Just off the hands of Terrence Rulak. That's one of Rulak's favorite patterns, and he had to leap out for the ball.
Well, Terrence Rulak has caught the ball well over the middle so far this year. He'd like another chance at this one. Great protection by the Clemson offensive line. Epley is right on target, right on the numbers, and those are the kind of balls you've got to catch.
Clemson Tigers finding ways not to put points on the board with advantageous positions in this first half. Igwebuike, placement at the 36-yard line. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So Clemson now on the scoreboard. 6:41 remaining in the second quarter. With the score, Clemson 3, North Carolina nothing. 13 plays to go 51 yards for the 46-yard field goal by Igwebuike. Eric Lewis and Winfield along with David Norris. Norris is the deep man at the end zone line. Igwebuike comes forward. And it'll go out of bounds, so over the end line, North Carolina takes it 1st and 10 from their 30-yard line. Clemson finally on the scoreboard with 6:41 remaining second quarter. I say finally because they have absolutely dominated the possession.
Well, they've been up and down the field. They've had field position for the most part in their favor all afternoon. But only 3 points to show for it. You know, it's interesting, in the last 13 quarters against Clemson, North Carolina has only scored 1 touchdown. And so far this afternoon, they have not come close.
Winfield is to the far side on a 1st and 10 from that 30-yard line. Griffin in the slot. That's Winfield in motion. Knifing through when the blitz is Terrence Mack to bend it. Anthony didn't stand a chance. It looked like he wanted to go in the naked reverse. Second sack for Terrence Mack.
Well, Kevin Anthony fakes to Horton here. He wants to go on the bootleg to his left. The bandit Terrence Mack was blitzing, and he was blitzing in the right position. He came up with a big play.
He had a guard with him, C.A. Brooks, the sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio. But Mack, with his terrific quickness, knifing through to down and behind the line of scrimmage to make it a 2nd and 19 for the Tar Heels. From the 21, Anthony goes over to Horton. They like to pull tackles, pull guards, and even pull the center sometimes. And this time he had 2 blockers in front of him, with Henry Walls doing a nice job of containing him and making the tackle. Let's check the yardage in this ball game. This is not in the ball game. This is averages for the entire season. The Carolina offense with 412 yards a game, but the defense for Clemson only gives up 285. They've done a much better job of that in containing North Carolina in this ball game. Anthony looking deep. Beautiful catch by Streeter. Eric Streeter, who did a nice in and then fake out, caught the ball at midfield. Reggie Pleasant finally catching up with him. Beautiful delivery of the football, Kim.
Well, a play-action pass on 3rd and 9 usually doesn't fool anybody, but this play works because look at the time Anthony has, and the other factor is Eric Streeter ran a beautiful pattern. He went down in the post, really sold the pattern, and then cut back out on the corner pattern for the completion.
1st and 10 from the 50 for North Carolina. Well, that was very fine execution by Anthony and Streeter. Mack! Loose ball in the backfield. Anthony has the smarts to jump on it. Craig Crawford was right there to try to get the fumble recovery, as Terrence Mack did a terrific job with his quickness.
Well, this is the second play in this drive where Terrence Mack has shown great instincts for the football. Blitzing in that time. You know, last week, Georgia Tech's quarterback John Dewberry ran the bootleg effectively against Clemson. Apparently, they've made adjustments because Terrence Mack has been in the backfield and he's really harassing the quarterback.
2nd down and 17 yards to go for the Tar Heels from their 42. That's Franklin, the tight end, in motion. Anthony looking back on the rollout. It's complete this time to Eddie Colson, their fullback. He's out of bounds much short of the 1st down. It's just over the 50-yard line, back to almost the original line of scrimmage. Richard Donaldson making the push out.
Well, here's the play-action pass again. He's got people out in front of him. Plenty of time. Look, could have been a penalty there.
Breaking through was Craig Crawford, the defensive end. So the Clemson fans cheering on their defense on an important 3rd and 9 for the Tar Heels. Ball placement at the 49-yard line. Anthony, the straight drop. That time it was intended for Streeter. Had Watson been going for the football instead of the man, he might have had an interception. The free safety, Ronald Watson.
Kevin Anthony faking to Horton. Not much of a fake there. But he lets the ball go high across the middle to Streeter, and that's a dangerous place to be high with the football.
Watson coming off a great game against Georgia Tech where he had 17 tackles. And it's an ACC record for defensive back, getting 8 first hits and 9 assists. Reggie Pleasant back at his 10-yard line as Beinhardt gets a nice high floater this time. Pleasant just waves it by as the North Carolina young man just misses the football down at the 1-yard line. And let's check to see who that is. Number 16, Figgins, Howard Figgins from South Hill, Virginia. 4 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the second quarter. It's Clemson 3, North Carolina nothing, as the Tigers will take over 1st and 10 from their 20-yard line. Epley, number 14, joining the huddle as Stacy Driver comes back in at tailback. He sends Ray Williams and Butler to the far side. Kenny Flowers, number 48, the fullback. Driver in motion. Epley to Williams, off his hands. The passing connections just aren't well coordinated so far in this ball game. For this ball game, look at the lopsided total yards. That's what we were getting to earlier. Clemson 158 yards to only 62 here in the first half for North Carolina, mainly because of these young men on defense. And Clemson only leading the game 3-0. So North Carolina's really had some good breaks in that respect. Driver up the middle, good initial hold as he's dragged down at the 26-yard line by Troy Simmons, the inside linebacker. Simmons, the number 3 tackler on that Tar Heel defensive team.
And that time, Driver running over Steve Reese, the left guard.
Driver now 27 yards in 7 carries, and we mentioned before he's coming off his greatest game. That was against Georgia Tech. 131 yards in 26 carries. First time this year that a back has rushed for over 100 yards for the Clemson Tigers. Epley is just corralled immediately. Did a very wise thing. Instead of trying for the pitch with Jeff Ray's arms hugging him, he just held on to the football. Fine defensive move. 12 hits this year for young Ray, who's only a junior from Durham, North Carolina.
And one of the few times that North Carolina has stopped Clemson in this ball game. Usually it's been Clemson stopping themselves.
Walter Bailey is the deep man as Hatcher sends a high floater that Bailey looks at his coverage and now lets it bounce. Takes a side bounce out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That's where North Carolina will take over. And North Carolina is not used to such field position, at least in this ball game.
About a 38, 39-yard kick by Hatcher that time. Even when he misses them, they go just about 40 yards, Art.
The important thing on that one, no run back, as it did kick out of bounds. And points per game for the season. You see, North Carolina has allowed 34 points to 24.3 of their own. They take over 1st and 10 at the 36.
And 52 of those points coming against Boston College.
Horton, as he goes over the 41-yard line, is met by Chucky Richardson and Ronald Watson combining for the stop. Watson now on the season coming into this game has 32 tackles. Showing his quickness from that free safety spot and getting to the play. He's from Jefferson, Georgia.
And there's the numbers on Ethan Horton. 22 yards so far in this game. You know, Horton's a runner that always seems to be in control. He always seems to glide through the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 5 for the Tar Heels from the 41. Horton. And gets by the linebacker very slowly, Chucky Richardson, almost as if he expected a penalty to be called.
Well, in the last 2 carries, we've seen Horton with the ball. Neither play looked like anything spectacular, but he quietly got his team a 1st down.
Horton only had 47 yards last year against Clemson, averaging 106.7 a game this year. 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining before halftime. Clemson 3-0, 1st and 10 at the 48-yard line for the Tar Heels. Anthony, the play action. And it's complete to Winfield. Winfield with good speed as he goes down the sideline, but he stepped out back at the 44-yard line. Tyrone Davis making sure of that. Tyrone with a good year in that secondary with 2 interceptions, but he couldn't get to it this time. Anthony.
You know, so far in this game, Kevin Anthony's done his job at quarterback. On the roll this time, he got plenty of time from his offensive line. He put the ball right on the money to Earl Winfield downfield. They've got a 2nd and 2.
Winfield makes the long catch for North Carolina. His longest this year, a 40-yarder. Does not have a touchdown so far this year. On the 2nd and 2, they give it to Horton, and he gets the first down inside the 40-yard line.
Well, he got the first down, and he's going to get a bit more. We've got a piling on penalty on Clemson. Keith Williams coming in late that time.
The Perrys were also over there. Michael Perry getting credit for the hit. And look at Danny Ford.
Danny Ford doesn't
What
like
else
it.
could happen to him?
You know, he's got his offense and his defense functioning well. They're moving the ball on offense, making big plays, but the turnovers and the penalty factor is something that's a very difficult thing to coach. You can only tell a kid so many times, don't turn the ball over, don't fumble, don't have a silly penalty.
The fans trying to rally their defense. The defense has done a good job in this ball game. This is a nice sustained drive for the Tar Heels. From the 24, that's Horton. William Perry, the hit. After a gain of 2 yards on the play. Some 80,000 fans here at Death Valley watching this ball game, and let's check out the replay.
There you see number 56 for North Carolina. That's Bill Viggers trying to block William Perry. Initially, he got a good hit into him, but Perry's just so strong.
Pat Sheehan, the sophomore, is usually number 1 on the depth chart, but Viggers playing. Pinched nerve by Sheehan has bothered him through practice this week. He will play some, though, today. 55 seconds left before halftime. Anthony hungry for a score. He's got his man, Horton. Horton down to the 10-yard line. Another first down for the Tar Heels. Very impressive drive right now. Ken Brown making the tackle in at that bandit spot.
And the key to any passing attack is getting enough time to throw the ball. There were actually 3 offensive linemen on William Perry this time in the middle of the field. Anthony scrambles around, buys himself some time. That's good vision by our quarterback, finding Horton downfield in a crowd.
Check out to see how they take care of William Perry here, Kim.
Well, the center, the left guard, and the right guard are all going to get a piece of Perry. Look at that. They've actually got 4 guys around him. You think they worked on number 66 during the week at practice?
First and goal to go with 45 seconds remaining, second quarter. That's Colson, Eddie Colson, the fullback. They use him out of a tailback situation many times, and they're going into their less than 2-minute drill right now. It'll be second and goal to go. From the 7-yard line, Berlin making the tackle on Colson.
And they're not going to huddle.
That's Horton bouncing off the tackler, but he can't get out of the grasp of Michael Perry or William Perry. And the Clemson defense holds. 3rd and 9, 17 seconds on the clock. William Perry has had a terrific ball game up middle after only 7 stops. The lowest of the season last week against Georgia Tech. North Carolina with all their receivers in the ball game. Streeter, Griffin, and Horton. As Anthony goes back to pass. Horton gets the call, and he's tackled by the linebacker, Keith Williams. The clock continues to move. 8 seconds, 7 seconds on the clock. If they don't hurry, they won't even have a field goal try. Finally, Anthony goes over to call timeout. There's been a real battle this year for who was going to be the kicker, the place kicker for the Tar Heels. And this young man, Phillips, won out. Or I should say Miller won out. Phillips the snap. The hold by Anthony. The kick is up. And do we have a tied ball game? Yes, we do. So as time runs out here at halftime, the Tar Heels of North Carolina have put their first points on the board. With the field goal, it's Clemson 3, North Carolina 3. We'll be back in a moment. Here at halftime, it's 3-3, Clemson, North Carolina. Art Ekman and Kim McQuilkin. And Kim, it's surprising that we haven't seen more points from these two teams.
Well, it really has. They've moved the ball well. At least Clemson has in between the 20-yard lines. They've had some great drives, but they've broken down a fumble inside the 5-yard line on the opening drive. Certainly cost them. They dropped a couple of balls inside the 20-yard line. And 1 or 2 key penalties also have killed drives for Clemson. On the North Carolina side of the field, they simply have not gotten their rushing game untracked. They've got Colson and Horton, who are great running backs, but they've got nowhere in the first half.
And, of course, the defenses of the two teams have to receive credit as well. We've seen a lot of action between the 20s, and here we check out Kevin Anthony, the quarterback, and look at that fine tackle by Terrence Mack.
Well, Terrence Mack, the Bandit, gambled that time on a blitz. North Carolina wanted to come out on the bootleg, and Mack was on the spot.
Once again, North Carolina on the offensive side of the field.
Well, here we see the play-action pass for North Carolina. Anthony's going to scramble. He's going to find Horton across the middle. That was real good vision for a young quarterback, and this set up North Carolina's field goal.
That set up the situation with Miller's 21-yard field goal. Igwe Buike earlier, a 46-yard field goal. As we've got the 3-3 tie, here are the statistics. Look at the rushing for Clemson as compared to North Carolina. 162 yards in the first half, 107 for North Carolina, and still only 3 points for each team on the board. Clemson dominating that time of possession. 18 minutes, 3 seconds in the... With the score, Clemson 3, North Carolina 3. We'll be right back with the second half kickoff after this.